the rest for the folks, which ain't much.
Hello there, Jim. How you doing? Dave and Richard almost filled up the tape yesterday, but left me and Dad a little bit, so we'll tell you a thing or two. Gary got back from his school, NCR, and he's going to have to move back to Harrisburg now. They're requiring him to be over there, and they've laid off gobs of men. He said over in the whole corporation, it'd be about 9,000 men that they've laid off. And there was 6 out of the Carbondale branch. I think 2 of them were servicemen, and others, some of them salesmen and so forth. But it don't look so good, so he didn't argue with them about moving back. I think they laid off the 2 fellows right directly under him. And went to Bible study last night with Mr. and Mrs. Olson, and it was pretty interesting. And I can't think what else to tell you.
Stop it for a while.
Hey, stop it.
Hello, Jim. This is Dad. It was good to hear from you again. I noticed you've been picking up your speech. Your speech is different. You're losing your drawl, for one thing, and you're beginning to sound less like a Southern Illinoisan. You were asking about my truck in a letter, I believe. It's a pretty good truck, seems like. It doesn't use any oil to speak of, maybe a quart and 4,000 miles. And it starts real good. Doesn't have too much power, being a 6-cylinder, 240 cubic inch engine. But it does the work. And it, the front end needs a little bit of work, I guess. Did some work on it, but it needs the, what do you call them? Not ball joints, but kingpins, yeah. They took it to get the front end lined, and they said it needs kingpins before they can line the front end. Oh, yeah, about my job. I'm still a sub-carrier, but I got another raise, another wage increase, making $4.81 an hour now, which is a little bit over $10,000 a year, straight time. Usually get a little bit of overtime. Last year I had about 60 hours overtime altogether. Well, today's the end of February, 28th today. Tomorrow's the 1st of March. Won't be long till spring. We're thinking about planting another garden this year. If we can get the garden cleaned off. I can get Maxine to clean the garden off.
Ho, ho. I was going to tell you, we really enjoyed that tape you sent. Now then, it'll be your turn to have to sit and listen while we talk. Get back at you this time.
Maxine said to tell you that the 2 fellows that got laid off at NCR went to Denver and got a job. Transferred out there, I guess. No, she says they didn't transfer. They got on with another company. That's it. Yeah, NCR is just laying off all over the place, I guess. Maybe Gary can tell you a little more about it. He's coming over this evening, and maybe he'll let you know what happened. So we'll be seeing you then.
Hello, Jim. Hey, Jim, they fired Bud Simmons. Laid off Heinrich and Larry Eddings and this guy they transferred in from Kansas to work on the computer. Eddings and Bellairs got jobs at Denver and left.
And made Leroy said that he said that...
Well, that was Gary. Now this is Sherman. This is March the 2nd. March the 1st. And Maxine's in there working on her arithmetic right now. I'm on the 1 to 9:30 shift today. Special delivery and pickup and clerking and so forth. So, and I got that tomorrow again. And then Saturday, be back on the day shift again. Then have to work Sunday evenings. And Monday on the day shift. With Tuesday and Thursday off. Really got some oddball things now. Oh, I guess you recognized Gary's voice there. He had to get his 2 cents worth in. That Illinois income tax thing that you wanted, you've probably gotten it by now. I sent it first class mail just a few days ago. Last night after we got back from going to see about Gary's house, he was trying to buy a new house and the loan didn't go through, but anyhow we came back and along about 8:30 or 9, the BB was barking real loud out there in the back someplace, back of the garden, and finally found her over on Fanny's land, So I took the shotgun out there, and David took the flashlight. We went looking, and he shined the flashlight around where BB was, and then I stepped on something. Looked down, he shined the light down there, and there was a possum curled up, playing dead, how they do. So we took and BB had been biting on it, looked like. So we took David took the possum by the tail, took it up to the house, and we took it in. Richard was in the bathroom, so he took the possum right up to the bathroom, and he was hanging down with his 4 feet, trying to move, and get on the ground, I guess. Richard really got a kick out of that, though. He was going to tell that at school today. He had something to tell. BB had been barking at some kind of... Well, looks like my tape's run out, so goodbye, we'll see you. There, She didn't know what was going on, so we thought we'd go find out.
From back here in cold, clammy, wet land. Pretty rotten. Wish I was out there. So, how's everything? Including Sylvia, of course. You and her getting along better now? Hope so. It's about time, I suppose. Yeah, what y'all been doing? As far as get-togethers and socials? Have you had a formal social? And etc. How much is Leroy making these days, anyway? You said he's going to go to a new job, or dead, or whatever. So how much will he make? He was already making plenty. Sounds like y'all had a big time up there on that mountain. Running around in the snow and throwing snowballs at each other. Boy. Then you go back down into your 80-degree weather down there, which I noticed you had there one day. Must be nice. Maybe I can come out this summer, sometime, anytime, during the summer. And then you won't be at such an advantage over me. Nah. As far as club is concerned, I have 4 more numbers to give. The last 4. I got through number 8 first try. I guess shouldn't have much trouble with that anyway. Shouldn't. We've been off for 2 weeks because of the formal socials we've had. Sunday we go back and I'll have to give number 9, instruct speech. I don't have it written up yet. This is, by the way, let's see, Tuesday. Tuesday night at, it's already 8:47. Terrible. Time gets away. Oh well, I had a long nap a while ago. That accounts for a lot of the time. Oh, excuse me. Hopefully within the remaining next 8 or 10 weeks of club, I'll be able to give 4 speeches and be through. Hoopy-doo. Now, so much for club. And back to the socials. We'll get along to that. A week ago from this past Sunday, we at Cape had our social. Had a good time. Real good. Everybody got together, talked and laughed and drank and danced and did something new this year. Mr. Romer got up there and said, we're going to have a talent search. Nobody knew about it till he got up there and said it. Then he called up, well, first he led out the show by playing a couple of harmonica tunes. He said, just before he started, he said his mouth was as dry as cotton, because he can get up and preach all day, but something like this is different, he said. So he played a couple of little tunes and then started out with old Mr. Verbal on the violin, and Mr. Hornbuckle played guitar. The fella that nobody knew did anything got up there and played piano real well and guitar too. Mr. Thompson. And Mr. Petty got up and played real nice piano songs. A couple of the women sang, and he called on Don Hatchett, who's a barbershop quartet singer, used to be. Used to get into that stuff a lot. Called him up there, and then he picked out Harold Merker, Richard Pearson, of course himself, and then me. Got me up there, of all things. And we tried to do this song, barbershop quartet style. About the only note we hit very well, the only chord we hit very well was the last note. It turned out okay. That takes a lot of practice to do all that, to do well in that stuff. Can't, unless all 4 men would have been experienced at it enough to get up there and do that, just offhand. Just out of the clear blue. But anyway, we did it. And Mr. Romer mentioned that a little bit of work, we'd have something there, maybe. Then we danced a little more. After that was near the end. Had some more. I danced nearly every one of them. Had a few more dances after that, and it was over, and then everybody rushed back. No, some of us did, rushed back to the tables and gobbled up the remaining leftovers, stuffed our guts, and cleaned up on the little hors d'oeuvres back there, cheeses and carrots and starches and olives and all kinds of goodies. Many people were there, and including Donna and Applegate and John were there. They're engaged, I guess you know. Let's see. Mike Holmes wasn't there. He should have been, but I never did see him. Well, Karen Ice was there, of course, and a whole bunch of Cape people. Janice Prince from Paducah came up. Excuse me. Of course, Karen's kind of forlorn looking that night, like she usually is. She said, "Oh, I'm not having a good time," or something like that, mentioned to me. She gets depressed. Depressed a lot, seems, still yet. But then I danced with her a few times, and she seemed to perk up a little bit. What a gal. Yeah. Oh, I didn't take anybody in special. I just danced with them all. Danced with my favorites the most, though. And, yeah. Then this last Sunday, Paducah had their social. It wasn't quite as good as our own. Of course, never is as good as our own. Let's see, I failed to mention the entertainment that we had at the Cape social. There was a skit with Mr. Harrison and Ronnie Creed as old prospectors. By the way, the theme of the whole thing was Western, kind of Western. And these were a couple of prospectors in their little skit, and they had a pet rattlesnake hanging around there, and they said some funny words. Don Hatchett sang a song, of course. Let's see. There was another skit with Nancy Wagner and her brother and her date, Bill Thurston, a new fella. Now, yeah, I was in the Virginia Reel dance that we put on. Several of us put on up there. It opened with a chorus song and finished with a chorus song. Had some stuff in between. Now back to the Paducah social. Well, several of the Cape people were there. Let's see, Karen Ice and Ken Estes were there. Nancy Wagner and this Bill Thurston fella was there, or were there. I was there. Donna Applegate and John Jewell were there. And Mr. and Mrs. Applegate, Mr. and Mrs. Keeley, Mr. Romer, Mr. O'Gwen. Oh, and Gene Carter. Saw Gene Carter there. Good old guy. He said he worked in Prescott for a while as a furniture salesman. But that wasn't the greatest thing. Now he's here. He doesn't know for how long. He'd still like to go to Florida, he said. I'll have to talk with him some more and see what he's going to do. I'd like to go to Florida with him, by the way. I'll have to think about it. Might do it. Might. Because I'm getting kind of tired of school. Same old thing. Of course, that's the way it is. With anything, nearly. But, get turned off by some of these teachers that we have. They're not really there to teach. They're there to earn a living. Seems like, especially the physics teacher. He doesn't seem to take much interest in the students, and that's very bad. Because, kind of turns the students off. He's cold, short with the students, and doesn't want to talk much. And discourages a lot of the people. But I try to hang in there. He grades only on the final answer. Of course, that's good in ways, but man, nobody's perfect. Anybody can make, and about anybody does, make these simple minor errors that throw the answer off. But Still yet, a person could do the procedure right and get the answer a little bit wrong, then he takes off full points for little things like that. The answer has to be right on the money. So sometimes it's a little frustrating. Some of the experiments are unclear what to do, and don't know where to get answers to some of the questions. But a person can make out okay if he'll can take the teacher. Just go in there and keep bothering him until he answers you or something like that. That's physics. Calculus is pretty good. Have a fairly good teacher, real nice guy, but he can't work the problems part of the times. Terry Pope is his name, spelled P-O-P-P, like Pop. I call him that once in a while. Say, hi, Pop. But he's good-natured. He just can't work the problems sometimes. Confuses the students in the meantime. Oh, I haven't been working in there like I really ought to. Got a 65 on the first test, 95 on the next one. Don't have the returns on the third one. It should be pretty good, though. And I participate in class a lot, argue and all that good stuff. So, should end up, if I can do okay on the next test and the final, then I'll be okay in there. That'll be fine. Should get an A if I'll get down and work on this polar coordinate business. Have a graph with, you can have an X and Y axis, but a point is plotted by the method. You're given a radius, and you're given a radius, which is a length, and given an angle. And the angle is measured from the positive x-axis, counterclockwise. So you could have an angle of 30 degrees coming up from the x-axis, and then be given a radius of 3. So you bring that angle up there, draw the line, and beginning at the origin, count off 3 units along this line that was made on this 30-degree angle line. Count up 3 units, and there's a point. You come on up to 60 degrees, and you could have 3 units again if radius was 3 again. If the radius happened to be 3 at all angles, then the graph would turn out to be a circle with a single radius. But if the radius changes for each point, you can have weird, strange, grotesque graphs to turn out. And some nice, like 4-leaf clovers, 3-leaf clovers, heart shapes, etc. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. Well, that's polar coordinates. I need to go up there and do some work on them.